What's up, guys? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Also, please smash that like button on the video and enjoy the show.
So after all this happens, Mario dies. So I continue working with the guy in San Francisco. I expand to Santa Rosa. I expand. And then I started working with this guy, Doc, down in Tucson, Arizona. And he was very, very good friends with Caro Quintero.
Rafael Caro Quintero from Mexico.
Rafael Caro Quintero. Yeah. So,
Now, that is the guy who, I'm sure we'll talk about this later, but he ordered the torture of Kiki Camarena and then had him killed, Kiki Camarena, the DEA agent,
yes.
and who was later caught in Costa Rica, which also involved you in some way. Major player in the cartels, who's now, he was let out on a technicality, I believe, in Mexico, and now he's on the run because they're like, oh, shit.
Released him. Released him by mistake.
Oh, my God. All right, anyway, but you were saying the doc out in Tucson was this hookup.
Yes.
Now, what was the story with this guy?
The doc knew him from the pot days because Caro Quintero had a very big pot farm.
Yes.
In Buffalo.
This was covered in Narcos Mexico very well. Yeah.
So the doc was his good friend, and he used to cross merchandise for Rafa into the U.S. via Arizona. So the doc is always after me saying, let's do some coke. Let's do some coke. I was already sending the doc coke for him to resell, but he says, let's do our own trips. So then I went down to Puerto Vallarta, and I met with Rafa.
What year? Like 84, 85?
84, somewhere around there.
Okay. Because he didn't want to get into the coke business. He loved weed.
No, he didn't like it. He didn't like it at all. But then he hooked me up with some friends of his through my brother-in-law, and they took me out to a place called La Peñita. It's a strip right outside of Puerto Vallarta. And that's when I, called a buddy of mine, a guy I was working with in Colombia with Paco, Alberto Barrera, who later they chopped his head off. That's in the book, Red River of Blood or something. So I bought a Merlin, a very nice turboprop plane. And we started landing that at La Peñita and delivering 350, 400 kilos. And then they would take it up to Guaymas, and then from there they would cross.
And you were bringing that in from Colombia?
Yes. I was working with a guy they called Oreo, who also knew the doc. Between him and the doc, they worked that out, but they crossed the merchandise. And we started working Mexico back then. The Mexican border.
And so the Mexicans were completely reliant on Colombia to get them their stuff, and then so they became the middlemen between Colombia and the U.S. essentially.
The Mexicans.
Yeah.
Yes. And the original guy that really did the hookup and introduced the Mexicans to cocaine was a Honduran guy. His name was Mata Ballesteros.
Can we pull him up?
Mata Ballesteros, El Negro.
I'm sorry to have to interrupt this video to say this, but recently YouTube reviewers have been tagging words in our videos as slurs that are not slurs and demonetizing the videos, which is killing our channel. And so I just want to point out that the term used right there, El Negro, is an official name of an official historical cartel character. It is not a slur, and so that use and any use of it moving forward in this video is not a slur. Thank you for your attention, and please enjoy the rest of the episode. Oh.
El Negro. Mata Ballesteros.
Wait, but that's not Blackie who, because that's what they called him in Colombia, right? That's not Blackie who was Pablo Escobar's buddy?
Fernando Galeano.
Once again, the term Blackie is an official name of an official cartel character. It is not a slur, so any uses of that moving forward in the video are not a slur. Thank you.
That's somebody else. That's another.
But he was called Blackie, right? Yeah. And in Spanish it was El
Negro Galeano. Yeah. And Mata Ballesteros was Honduran, and he was the original guy that hooked up the Medellin cartel with the Mexicans. Mata Ballesteros. He ended up in jail in Honduras. They grabbed his ass. They took him back to Honduras. He ended up in jail. And
I remember this guy from the show.
Alberto Sicilia Falcón knew him. Yeah.
Who was Alberto Sicilia Falcón again?
Alberto Sicilia Falcón was Cuban. He came to the U.S. at an early age, not an early age, but he must have been 17 or 18, and he started working for the CIA.
Oh.
He started working for the CIA. Then he went rogue. He went to Tijuana, and he started to move pot. But
you sure he went rogue, or that was a part of the mission?
No, he went rogue.
Okay.
He went rogue. He started to move pot in big amounts. And he was one of Mexico's first marijuana multimillionaires. Back in 76, let's say, 75, 76, 74, when there was no, I mean, Chapo was around, the Arellano brothers were around, but they were low level.
Right.
He was the highest level guy working in Mexico, Alberto Sicilia Falcón.
Is this like right when Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo was decided to get in the game?
Yes. Yes. Alberto Sicilia Falcón at that point, well, you can tell in Narcos Mexico, although they killed him in Narcos Mexico, and I called Jesse, I said, that's not true, because I was with Alberto in 1996.
Did they do that because it was Hollywood, or did they really think he had been killed?
No, it was Hollywood, or a mistake, or they just wanted to end his part in the series.
Understood.
And they figured kill him, because actually what happened to him was he went away for 18 years. He was the first guy to escape a Mexican prison via a tunnel. They put him in Lecombrí prison, and he escaped.
What was his full name, Falcón? But
Alberto Sicilia Falcón. Cecilia with a
Yeah, let's pull up this guy's Wikipedia. Alberto Sicilia
Falcón.
So he was a Cuban, ends up in America, works for the CIA. What was he doing on behalf of the CIA, allegedly?
Probably something to do with the Bay of Pigs.
Oh, nice.
Probably to do, with the invasions and that shit.
Okay, so Alberto Sicilia Falcón, this is from the Narcos Wiki fandom. He was a Cuban drug lord active in Mexico, a prominent high society cocaine trafficker. Cecilia Falcón shipped cocaine into the United States through the Tijuana corridor. He mentored the Arellano Felix brothers, allowing them to establish marijuana shipping routes throughout his territory. In the early 1980s, he was approached by Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo, one of Pedro Aviles' men, to solicit his permission in permitting the Arellano brothers in joining an alliance between various marijuana smugglers. Convinced by his personal friend and socialite Isabella Bautista, Cecilia Falcón agrees to Felix Gallardo's requests on the condition that they do not interfere with his cocaine business. However, a few years later, Felix Gallardo, now the leader of the powerful Guadalajara Cartel, decides to smuggle Colombian cocaine as the Caribbean route used by the Colombians was closed down by the United States. Enraged by the betrayal, Cecilia Falcón uses his influence to order a military raid on one of the weed warehouses of cartel leader Rafael Caro Quintero. The military seize most of the weed and destroy the rest. In retaliation, Don Neto of the Guadalajara Cartel buys out the police force at Tijuana and attacks one of Cecilia's warehouses, setting it on fire, recovering Rafa's marijuana. Felix Gallardo sends Isabella to negotiate a truce with Cecilia Falcón, and she succeeds in doing so. However, the DFS immediately kills Cecilia Falcón after she leaves, giving the complete control of Tijuana to Felix Gallardo. So that was not true.
That was not true.
Okay.
That was not true. And I think the lady that they referred to is
Can you
actually...
stay with the mic? Sorry. Yeah.
The lady they referred to actually was La Tigresa. What was her name in Mexico? What the hell? Well, I have it somewhere. But she was a famous movie star. Because Cecilia Falcón was a very elegant, educated man. He went both ways, but he was portrayed as a he came across totally as a very serious gentleman, very well-dressed, very good-looking man, serious, no, not wacky at all. And he was the first multimillionaire. They say that when he used to go to Europe in the early 70s, back then he had $20-30 million already when nobody had that kind of money. There were two big tippers in Paris, him and the Shah of Iran. He used to give out, there she is, La Tigresa.
Oh, that's the girl?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He was always in, look at him.
Yeah.
Very good looking, well-dressed guy. We got along great. I met him through a lady friend of ours in Mexico, and I spent 2 years with him almost every day.
So you were living in Mexico?
Yes, I was.
You relocated to Mexico in like 84?
No,
85?
I relocated to Mexico. I was living in Colombia up to 1994, and then I went to Mexico.
Okay, so he had done his prison stint at this point.
Exactly. He had just gotten out of prison when I met him.
And you met him through a lady friend, you said?
Through a lady friend.
Now, was he still in the game, though, at this point?
He was still in the game, but not as powerful as before. So he was looking to me to start up again and to start bringing in coke from Belize and Chetumal. And he had a very good friend bad son of a bitch, who was involved with El Negro Durazo in Mexico City. Negro Durazo was chief of police for Lopez Portillo in Mexico. Sagul Vaca.
Okay.
Bad motherfucker.
There's so much here, many different people that tie together that like we can go out of order. I want to try to keep it on track though. Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.